GRIAS Academy.
"100 days, 100 teams, one goal, UPSC Prelims." Hello all, welcome back to Mission Surya Phase 3 of STEM revision. We deal with science and technology and environment related current affairs regarding your prelims perspective. So let's get started with our today's session. Today we are going to discuss about an important topic called vaccines. Okay, now what are vaccines? Vaccines are generally taken by so many people, like from the childhood they'll take the vaccine to prevent diseases on beforehand. These vaccines train our immune system to fight against an antigen which fight against the disease which comes into our body, so that it develops few antigens in our body so that it can fight with any organism or virus if it enters into our body. Okay, so coming to the vaccine mechanism, it trains the immune system of our body. Next, the fundamental principle of any vaccine is to expose the body to a safe version of disease causing organism. A disease causing organism may be virus or bacteria, right? So that the immune system can learn to fight without the patient actually getting sick. It acts as a training stimulation for your body. Okay, this is called vaccine. Now, we have to know about a few key terms before knowing about vaccine, before knowing how vaccine works. Okay, what are the key terms? The key terms are pathogen, antigen and antibody. These three are basic things we have to know before studying the mechanism of vaccines. Okay, now what is pathogen? A pathogen is a disease causing organism. Disease causing organism, either it be a virus or a bacteria. Now what is antigen then? Then antigen is a specific molecular structure on the surface of the pathogen. See, this is pathogen. On this pathogen, a small antibodies are produced. Okay, that the immune system will recognize it as foreign bodies. Other than any cells in our body, other than any antigens in our body, if some other unknown antigen comes and bind to our to our immune system, it will consider as a foreign body. Okay, next, what is antibody? Antibodies are Y-shaped proteins. Okay, these proteins which are produced by immune system. These are produced by immune system that specifically bind to the neutralized antigens. These Y-shaped antigens will come and bind to this antigens. Okay, antigens. These are called antibodies. You have to know these terms before knowing the mechanism of vaccines. Now, let us move on to the mechanism of vaccines. See, let me introduce you few cells like dendritic cells, macrophages and B cells. We'll see. These dendritic cells, these play a crucial role in initiation of adaptive immune response. These play a crucial role in adaptive immune response. Next, these macrophages plays a crucial role in regulating the immune system. For regulating the immune system, macrophages are required. B cells are produced and secrete antibodies, which are proteins, okay, that can recognize and neutralize the foreign antigens. Okay, now let's look into the mechanism of vaccine. When a vaccine is administered, in the sense when we take a vaccine, it triggers a highly coordinated biological response. It triggers the highly coordinated biological response. Now, let us see, when we take a vaccine, what happens in a step-by-step process. First step, when we take the vaccine, it introduces the imposter into the body. Means the vaccine introduces the harmless component of the pathogen, means the antigen which I have told you before, the foreign bodies which attaches. This doesn't cause any of the harm to our body. it is introduced into the bloodstream or muscle tissues. Because this component is dead, weakened or just a fragment, it cannot cause any disease to our body. This is the first step. When we take the vaccine, it creates a importer in our body. Then the step 2 is the alarm is sounded inside our body. The immune system activates our cells now. Now it says some few foreign bodies have come into the body. Now this immune system will alert the dendritic cells and macrophages. What happens? See here, innate immune response, specialized scout cells like dendritic cells and macrophages detect the foreign antigen. They detect the foreign antigen. See, when the antigens are coming and binding, they detect these antigens, they swallow the antigen, and display pieces on its own surface. On its own surface, it displays few pieces of this antigen to show the rest of the immune system what the invader looks like. I mean, if any bacteria, or take an example of COVID-19 vaccine. When we took COVID-19 vaccines like Covaxin or Covishield, these are the things, right, what we took for COVID-19. What happens when we take this vaccine? It gives some antigens into our body which are specifically to fight against the COVID-19 bacteria. So COVID-19 virus. So what happened? It detects the importer first, then it develops a few antigens. It gives an alarm sound to our immune system stating few macrophages and dendritic cells that some foreign antigen has come into our body. Now it swallows these dendritic cells and macrophages, swallows these antigens and put few pieces on their own body, few pieces on their own surface to show rest of the immune system that this is the virus we have to fight, because the vaccine is already been taken. Okay. Next come the step 3. What is step 3? Step 3 is activating the special forces. Activating the special forces in the sense, the scout cells like macrophages and dendritic cells travel to the lymph nodes. They travel to the lymph nodes and present the antigen pieces to the T cells and B cells. T cells and B cells are nothing but the specialized white blood cells. Okay. Now few cells like helper T cells. What these helper T cells do is, they act as commanders now. They act as commanders, releasing chemical signals to activate the rest of the immune system. These helper T cells activate the immune system by, this is the antigen we have to fight with when it comes into the body. Next, what B cells do? B cells, once they are activated, they multiply and transform into plasma cells. They multiply and transform into plasma cells, which acts as antibody factories. They pump out millions of specific antibodies which are ready to fight with the antigens. Okay, designed to lock onto that exact antigen. When specific virus is coming inside, the body is already developed with antigens, and the immune system also have a idea that when specific virus is coming, all the antibodies are also released, and these antibodies are ready to fight with the specific antigens which they have to fight. Next, toxic T cells. What these toxic T cells do is, these actively seek out and destroy any of the body's own cells that have been infected. If any virus comes in and infect the any of the organism in our body, what happens? This cytotoxic T cells will destroy the body's own cells that have been infected. This is how the mechanism works out. Next, in step 4, what happens is, it creates an immunological memory. Creates an immunological memory, which is a very crucial step in the vaccination process. Like, once the mock infection is cleared, when a virus is entered, the virus is killed by these antigens and antibodies. Now, after the mock infection is cleared, most of the active immune cells die off. Most of the active immune cells die off. Okay. However, A small fraction remain behind. A small fraction remain behind as a memory B cells and memory T cells. These memory cells acts as a biological database for further infection times. They remember the exact structure of the antigen. Not only now, later on if the virus comes, later on after few years also if the virus comes, these antibodies will be ready to fight against this viruses or bacteria. Okay. Next, step 5, the real world protection. If you are ever exposed to the actual live pathogens in future, what happens is your memory cells instantly recognizes it. I have already told you the memory cells will instantly recognizes it and they rapidly deploy massive amount of targeted antibodies before the pathogens has a chance to multiply and make you sick. Before you falling sick, these antibodies will fight with the virus or bacteria and they'll kill the organism before you fall sick. This is what the mechanism of vaccine will be happening. Okay, now let's see few types of vaccines. First is the live attenuated vaccine. Live attenuated vaccine is generally for chickenpox. Since our childhood we used to take this vaccine. It is uses a living but severely weakened version of the virus. It uses a living but severely weakened version of the virus. It replicates just enough to train the immune system. It only replicates the antibodies which are enough to train the immune system but not enough to cause disease. Means if a vaccine is introduced, is triggered into our body for chickenpox and all, it is live. When it comes to live attenuated, it means those are live organisms, but those are not like, they don't cause the disease. Those are live, they train the immune system to recognize the organism like virus or bacteria to fight with it. Okay, that's why they are called live attenuated vaccines. Then inactivated vaccines. Inactivated vaccines like polio, flu and all, these are inactivated vaccines, they are not live. Uses a virus that has been completely killed using heat or chemicals. It cannot replicate at all. Next comes the subunit or recombinant vaccines. Subunit or recombinant vaccines generally we use for HPV or hepatitis B vaccines. These uses only specific isolated pieces of the pathogens. Specific and isolated pieces of the pathogens are used and inserted into our body rather than the whole organism. Okay. Next, mRNA vaccines, messenger RNA vaccines. Messenger RNA vaccines are the COVID-19 vaccines what we used. These are, instead of injecting an antigen, these inject messenger RNA into our body. The messenger RNA acts as a biological instructor manual, means it passes the message, right? Like when a bacteria or when a virus comes into the body, the immune system have to be ready to kill that virus. Okay, telling your own muscle cells to temporarily build the harmless antigen. Example, the spike protein. Okay, your immune system then reacts to it. Okay, next, the viral vector vaccines. Coming to the viral vector vaccines, example Johnson & Johnson, COVID-19 also comes under this vector vaccines. Vector means which uses a different completely harmless virus. The vector as a delivery vehicle, means it is not directly one organism or one antigen is not directly imposed into our body. It is using a vector in the sense a vehicle to park in our body. Okay, like uses a different completely harmless virus, the vector as a delivery vehicle to carry the genetic instructions for the target pathogens antigen into your cell. Okay. Next, there are few vaccines which are mentioned under the Universal Immunization Program. What are they? see, BCG vaccine. This is Bacillus calmette-guerin, which is used for tuberculosis, which treats the tuberculosis disease. Next, pentavalent vaccine, which is used for diphtheria, pertussis, means whooping cough, tetanus, hepatitis B, Haemophilus influenza type B. Next, rotavirus vaccine, RVV. It is used to treat the disease rotavirus diarrhea. Next, OPV, BOPV and IPV. These are oral or inactivated polio vaccines. These are treated for polio. Next, measles rubella vaccine, which is used for treating measles and rubella diseases. Next, adult diphtheria and tetanus. These are for diphtheria and tetanus diseases. Next, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine is used to treat pneumonia and meningitis. Next, Japanese encephalitis vaccine. This Japanese encephalitis vaccine is used to treat Japanese encephalitis. Next, HPV vaccine is to treat the cervical cancer diseases, mainly targeting women. Okay, these are few vaccines which are under the universal immunization program. Okay, next, let's see one PYQ question. Let's see one question on vaccines. That is, see, consider the following statements regarding the vaccines administered in India. See, the first statement, the pentavalent vaccine provided under the universal immunization program protects against diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B and typhoid. Your second question is, the Japanese encephalitis vaccine is administered universally across all districts in India under the UIP to eradicate the vector-borne diseases. The third one is, the human papilloma virus, that is HPV vaccine, has been newly introduced into the UIP for adults and girls to prevent cervical cancer. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1, 2 and 3, option C 2 and 3 only, option D 3 only. So, your answer is option D 3 only, because as I told you, the pentavalent vaccine provided under universal immunization program, it protects against 5 diseases. What are those 5 diseases? Diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis B and typhoid. No, it is not typhoid, it is hepatitis B vaccine. See here, I will show you. Hepatitis B, Haemophilus influenza. It is not typhoid, it is Haemophilus influenza type B, right? See, diphtheria, pertussis or whooping cough, tetanus, hepatitis B and Haemophilus influenza B. These are pentavalent vaccines. Now, and another thing what we have seen is, what is the second thing? The Japanese encephalitis vaccine is administered universally across all districts in India under the UPI to eradicate the vector-borne diseases. No, it is not it is not implemented universally across all the districts in India. Only for few areas it has been restricted. So the statement 2 is also wrong. The first statement is also wrong because it mentioned typhoid. It is not typhoid, it is type B, Haemophilus type B. Okay. Then the second statement is also wrong because it is not administered universally across all districts in India. Only few disease-borne areas have been selected. And option 3 is correct because the human papilloma virus vaccine has been newly introduced into the UIP for adults and girls to prevent cervical cancer. This statement is correct. So your option D is the right answer. Okay. So I hope everyone liked the session. If you want a complete notes about vaccine, please do visit our website and download from there. And do like our YouTube channel, like, share and subscribe, and do follow our Instagram account as well as the Telegram channel for your UPSC preparation. See you all tomorrow with another session of STEM program, which is completely related to science and tech and environment. Thank you.